Hey there, thank you so much for tuning in. In today's episode, I am going to share with you a little bit more about my all new free online conference called Psychedelics, Sacred Medicines, Soul's Purpose and Business, Integrating Visionary Experiences into Heart-Centered Entrepreneurship. So this is my fourth series like this. In the past, I have offered conferences and summits around psychedelics, sacred medicines, and purpose, psychedelics, sacred medicines, and conscious business. And this year, we're going a little bit deeper into soul's purpose and heart-centered entrepreneurship. And what is that all about? So I, first of all, just want to invite you to this. It is starting on September 27th. The link is live. You can sign up now. The way this works is I am bringing together anywhere from 30 to 40. As of this recording, I'm not sure how many speakers we'll have, but 30 to 40 experts in the fields of psychedelics, sacred plant medicines, sacred animal medicines, leadership, heart-centered entrepreneurship, transformational entrepreneurship, spirituality, shamanism, visionary art, music, and more. And what I do is I bring this amazing group of experts and leaders together to discuss this interconnection between working with psychedelics and sacred medicines and coming into what I would call, or what I believe in, is a soul's purpose. And creating a heart-centered business, creating a life that really supports you, that you love, that is aligned with your heart and aligned with your soul, that can really have a domino effect on the planet and create transformation in the world. So the reason why I was inspired to do this many, many years ago. So I want to talk to you a little bit about this. I have been a business coach for many years, and I was already coaching people. But I was also on the medicine path. I have been working with psychedelics and plant medicines since I was 14 years old, and I am now in my 40s. And many, many years ago, I was really deep into the path of ayahuasca and psilocybin. And I had already produced some really beautiful online summits about spiritual business. They were called the True Path Entrepreneur, which is also the name of my group coaching program. And back then, I wanted to talk about this interconnection between being on your true path, being on this path of your soul and this trueness of your heart, and having a spiritual business, which, a lot of people who are on this path are called to the path of transformation and service and helping others, whether it's healers or therapists or coaches or psychedelic integration coaches or a version of a psychedelic facilitator who also coaches or heals, psychedelic assisted healing and coaching, and so on. So I was already doing this and I was already coaching people. And I had noticed that I really had loved to work with clients that were also on the medicine path and also working with psychedelics, because it was kind of like they were missing the integration of the psychedelic medicines into their path of purpose and their path of their career. And what I found was, a lot of people would go work with these medicines and then they would start to wake up and say, you know what, I am here for something more than what I've been doing. Or, my job or my career that I've had for 20 years is just not aligning with who I am anymore, because now I'm becoming a different person. Now I am experiencing consciousness and reality in a totally different way. And also, the path of psychedelics and medicines can also wake you up to these deeper feelings inside of you that I personally believe are part of your soul. It's like, there's people that believe all sorts of things, but this is my belief, which is why I'm calling it soul's purpose and heart-centered entrepreneurship, is that we are all coming into this incarnation that you're in right now, that we're all in right now together, with something that is predetermined through what some believe is like a soul, right? Or we can call it, maybe give it some other names, like a higher self or a spirit or something that is channeling through you, or, the belief that there is this eternal aspect of you, because you, not your body you, but you as in your spirit you, your spiritual self is eternal. It can never die. It's just eternal consciousness or energy or light or whatever we want to call it. And this eternal journey of this eternal spirit has, this is the theory that has these predetermined plans, right? That it comes into this incarnation to experience it and learn and grow, and it's part of this karmic journey that it's on. And I do believe, after working with many clients over a long period of time, that this is actually pretty true. Meaning, how often have you felt with yourself or with others or seen out there where very often people felt like they wanted to do something when they were maybe 10 years old or 15 years old? Like, I want to help people, or I want to make a difference in the world, or I feel this call to just create beauty. But then they go get sidetracked and get put on a different track, which is maybe go get a job and have a stable career and make some money and buy a house and do all the things. But then as they start to wake up and kind of become maybe dissatisfied with life, or start to go down this spiritual path or down the path of psychedelics and sacred medicines, they start to feel that part of themselves that has already been there for, since they can remember. That feels like, yeah, actually, I was always called to help people when I was a kid. And now here I am 40 years old and wanting to help people again. I do believe that there is this part of ourselves that kind of already knows what we're here to do. It's just now it's this process of uncovering it, of remembering, as they say, remembering who you are. Like we're born into this incarnation knowing who we are and what we're here to do. It's just that we're born forgetting, and then we spend the rest of our lives trying to remember. There's this theory. And so that's why I wanted to talk a little bit more about the soul's purpose, and not just having purpose, but more of this deeper place of what is it that, psychedelics wake up inside of you. So the original word for psyche is actually connected to the word soul, that's also connected to mind. But when you look at the etymology of this word, it does come back to the word soul. And, what is the soul? There's different beliefs. Like, none of us really know, right? There is no knowing when it comes to spirituality or mystical experiences or any of these unexplainable. Like, there's only speculation, because really, who's to say, right? Like, we don't actually know what the truth is. We just know what we feel, and we know what feels true to ourselves and true to our own experience. And also, the only thing that we can know is what we feel inside of our body and our emotions and our energy system. So what happens is, what I found on my path and the path of majority of my clients who work with psychedelics and plant medicines, is when you dive into this realm of really exploring and opening up your consciousness and having these really profound experiences and feeling this depth of something that's been living inside of you, but then maybe you haven't tapped into, like this excitement in your heart, or this feeling inside of you that feels like, I want to contribute, I want to help out, I want to do something with more meaning, with more purpose, that lights me up, that makes me excited to get out of bed in the morning. And unfortunately, there are so many people in this world who are, trust me, I was one of them, who are just going through the motions, just trying to survive, not waking up inspired, not waking up feeling like, oh, it feels so good to be alive, but really just kind of just going through life, kind of having to survive and be numb to what is actually inside of your heart. And, I'm not saying there is a right way or a wrong way, and I'm not denying that many people on this planet do actually just need to work to make money to be able to eat and survive. But I also do believe there is a larger shift happening on the planet as we wake up consciousness and we wake up to this deeper understanding of the human existence and the nature of what's happening on the planet and the energies of, the ascension of the earth and the changing the vibration on planet Earth, which, some of you may believe and some of you may not, but that's beyond the point. The point is that, many people are going through spiritual awakenings and waking up, and then you throw in things like psychedelics or plant medicines, and these parts of ourselves that actually really live inside of us, the soul or this spirit or this place in our heart that just feels like something more true. What I do believe is that as this starts happening more and more to people on this planet, that there is going to be a larger scale shift. And maybe there will be a day where no one on planet Earth needs to do work to just survive and not actually thrive. I mean, I'm praying and hoping that in our lifetime, we see this happen where everyone does have the opportunity to actually thrive and survive and have all their needs met while also feeling happiness and fulfillment and joy and excitement for just the gift of being alive. Obviously, not to say that money doesn't exist and capitalism doesn't exist. And, currently this is the structures we have in our society where we do need to earn money to pay for the food and shelter and all the bills in order to just stay alive. But if we stop and just dream of a better world or a more, as Charles Eisenstein says, a more beautiful world that we all know is possible, if we stop and really feel into what we want to co-create together as humans on this planet for each other and for the good of the actual planet and all of her beings and all the plants and animals and living creatures and the living planet as a whole, if we stop and actually feel into like, hey, we can actually create what we want here on Earth. Like these systems that are not serving humanity and our nervous systems and our minds and, like the mental health crises that we're experiencing all over the world. If we actually really got together and had this larger vision, which is part of my vision for the world and for the work that I do there, is to actually do my part to co-create this more beautiful planet, this more beautiful life that we all know is possible. And that is what my larger mission is. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning. And that's why I've created this series for 4 years in a row, is to talk about the potentiality that we have to not only have a business that you love right now that supports you, that you feel aligned with, but also helps one another, that helps create transformation. And not only that, but it helps you create a larger scale domino effect on the planet. So, for example, I'm going to name off some of the speakers we have coming on. As of this recording, we are still going to have probably 15 more speakers than this, but so far we have Charles Eisenstein, who is an amazing thought leader for what I believe to be is the new earth. Charles Eisenstein, if you don't know his work, has written many books about this, including, the beautiful, a more beautiful world that we all know is possible, and sacred economics, and talks about these larger and quite different ways of seeing the systems and the world and how we could actually create this. So I brought him on, who is also going to talk about this interconnection between the medicines and psychedelics and how this can help our planet. This can maybe solve our climate problems. This can maybe solve global warming and all the injustice and inequality. And I could go on, like the whole systems that feel very broken on the planet, which we all see are changing, right? Like whether we like it or not, there is a shift happening on this planet. So he's going to be addressing this and talking about this. I also have on Alex and Allison Gray, who are these renowned visionary artists, to talk about, having purpose and art and this interconnection between psychedelics and this path of awakening to these gifts that are inside of you, that are already living inside of your soul. And that might include art, and that might include writing, or it might include being a coach or a healer. So they're coming on. I have Chor and Elizabeth, my good friends, to talk about iboga medicine. I have Kat Courtney to address ayahuasca and legalization and decriminalization and some of the dark sides of decriminalization here in the US. Danielle Shankin of TAM Integration. We will be discussing psychedelic integration work and also how to understand proper setting substance and sitters for your psychedelic experience. I'm bringing in Kamya Bush, who has headed up the India Psychedelic Society of India. I mean, can you imagine that? Like, the world's most populated country has its huge psychedelic society. Imagine the impact this can have on the planet. I have Sandra Ingerman, who is a renowned shamanic healer and shamanic practitioner. She's coming on. I am so excited because I've asked her to come and speak for many, many years, and she finally said yes. Dr. Maria Mumbuni, who will be talking about iboga and other sacred plant medicines from Africa. I will have my friend Lorna Liana to talk about psychedelic integration and psychedelic business. Kyle Bowler of Psychedelics Today. He's always very interesting. I have, some Darren LeBaron from the UK, who is a mycologist and a specialist in psilocybin, other magic mushrooms, and other medicines, to talk about his gifts. And I'm going through this whole list. Simon Ugler, who is an incredible depth psychologist and psychedelic integration coach, who will be talking about probably, we haven't done the interview yet, but I'm assuming something really kind of funky and deep, maybe around Jungian psychology and psychedelic integration. Who knows? And I could go on and on. We have the founder of the Psychedelic Society of San Francisco, Danielle Negrin. I'm like, I have this huge list of people. Anyways, Soma Phoenix to talk about psilocybin, Lotus Sky to talk about self-mastery and medicine work. And yeah, the whole point of this is to really go into how the psychedelic path and this plant medicine path can connect you to this deeper level soul's purpose, and to help you create a heart-centered business. And we will also be exploring these topics of how this path of being on the medicine path, working with psychedelics, is going to change in the future. What are the future potentials? What kind of careers will there be in psychedelics? How are things going to change and grow over time? What is the direction we're going in? How can you get started in this path of having a psychedelic business that is based on your heart and your soul? So we are going to dive into all of this and much, much more. This series is free. It will run from September 27th for about 9 days, give or take, maybe 9, maybe 8, maybe 10. And then is no longer available. This series is also available for purchase at a very, very low accessible price. I offer this for purchase so that you have lifetime access and are able to watch these at any time, whenever is convenient for you. This is also a way for you to help support the speakers, who get a very large percentage of the proceeds. And then we also donate 10% of the sales to nonprofits doing work in psychedelic sustainability, advocacy, and reciprocity. And actually, I think this year we're going to give a pretty decent amount of money to a nonprofit that is run by a friend of mine, who is actually giving and on the ground doing reforestation of sacred plant medicines all over South America and Costa Rica, where many of these plants are becoming endangered. So that is one of the nonprofits. We usually give some to MAPS. I've supported the Heroic Hearts Project, who funds veterans in getting psychedelic therapies and psychedelic experiences with the ayahuasca to help with the veterans' PTSD and trauma. I usually do donate to any of the speakers who have a nonprofit. I usually give back to their nonprofit to help fund the initiatives that they're up to. So it will go to probably some to Blessings of the Forest, who is also helping preserve and give back to iboga medicine, and they are a very well-renowned iboga nonprofit. I'm trying to think who else I've given to. It's all over my website. We usually do give some to support Alex and Allison Gray and their initiatives, and Dr. Bronner's, David Bronner of Dr. Bronner's. He will probably join us because he usually says yes. And they support a lot of nonprofits. So we've given to some of their nonprofits as well. So I want you to know that this series is offered completely for free from the depths of my heart and soul. I think I shared this maybe last year on my podcast. When this first started coming through, which came through medicine for many years, it took me about 2.5 years to finally listen to the messages. They kept telling me you should make a psychedelic summit. This literally came through the medicine work for, year after year, many, many times. And I just kept saying no, because first of all, it didn't seem possible. And second, I was scared. And third, I was like, well, that's just the medicine talking. But after the medicine talks many, many, many times for many, many years, and you start to listen, sometimes it's actually right. So when I first did this series in 2019, I did it because my soul was asking for it to be created. I created it and put it together because I wanted to. I knew there would be someone on this planet that wanted to hear about this topic, and it wasn't just me. I thought it would be probably 50 people, and lo and behold, it's turned out to be thousands of people. So I just want you to understand that I do bring this series to you and to the general public from this larger mission that I have to create an impact and a change in the consciousness of humanity, to create a larger scale transformation, and to really give back to the earth, to give back to one another, and to really help make a difference in the lives of you and the lives of all the people that you're here to help, and the work that you are feeling called, that your soul is feeling called to do on this planet. So I invite you to tune in. I also invite you to please share this link, share the summit, share the series with anyone you think might be interested. Now is the time for us to really get this education and this subject out to more of the public, so that we can really see a large-scale transformation in the consciousness on planet Earth. Thank you so much for listening. I love you. I am grateful for your presence here. Have a great one, and tune in next week on a new episode of The Psychedelic Entrepreneur, Medicine for These Times.